I'm Keaton Case and I go to High Point University. I'm a junior who runs cross country and track and field. So when I was in the 5th grade, our school did something called the field day, and it had all of the students in the entire school came out and were running, and I got to do the 50-yard dash, and we ran against the boys and the girls, and I beat everyone, and I felt so cool for the first time. So as soon as middle school rolled around, I was really excited about doing track. When I got here, I was really struggling. From the very first track practice that I did, I was doing 300 repeats and collapsed on the track, and I was so embarrassed, and it had never happened to me before. My first thought was, maybe I'm not ready to be a college athlete. Maybe this whole experience is overwhelming for me. But then I decided to shift it and say, you know what? Everyone has those bad days. I can't let the fact that it was my very first practice deter me from really committing myself to the decision that I've made. But then I continued to be so exhausted and lethargic all the time. I went from getting 9 hours of sleep a night to 10 to 11 to 12 hours every single night. There were days when I would wake up and I would sit up in bed and I would pass out, and I would do a crunch and I would completely lose my vision, and I was feeling disoriented. When it was finally time to race, I was running times that I hadn't run since middle school. I remember one time I went on a run with some of the girls. We got 5 minutes in the run and I ended up separating myself, and I went into a store because I couldn't move anymore, and I was in the dollar store on the ground and I was crying, and it was definitely the low point of that experience. Finally decided to go and see what was happening with me, and I took the iron test. If you're under the level 50 for iron levels, coach usually has a supplement, and if you're under level 25, it usually means that you are anemic, and we found that my blood level results came back as a 3. Iron deficiency is an indicator of how many red blood cells are in your body. So red blood cells are responsible for taking the oxygen from your lungs to all the rest of the parts of your body. So if you have low counts of that, especially severely low counts of iron, you're basically suffocating from the inside. So it can be very scary. So I was glad that we caught it and glad that we were able to respond to it. When I received that news, I was so relieved. I had heard that so many people were being encouraging, but just saying that, oh, you just need to get out of your head, you just need to keep working harder. But I was working so hard. I was logging every single thing I ate. I was putting my whole heart into the practices, and I wasn't getting any better. I was actually getting much worse. So it was relieving to find out that there was a cure and I'd be able to get better and have running back in my life again. The next step after I found out that my iron was so low was to start supplementing. Originally I got to step completely back from running, which was nice because I got to restart and I got to reassess where I was at, and I got to start taking iron supplements, and my body responded really well to them, and after 2 or 3 weeks I was getting more and more back to myself. So now all I need to do is take 1 pill every night before I go to bed, and it keeps me in check, keeps me healthy, and it's such an easy fix for something that was plaguing me for so long. Iron deficiency in college women is very common, so it's important to help look for that. It's usually not as severe, or almost never as severe as what my levels got down to, but you can never take too much iron, so it's really important to make sure that it's in your diet. Iron is in spinach, it's in sweet potatoes, it's in kale, so just make sure you're getting all of the nutrients that you need. You know your body, you know when you're making excuses for yourself and when there's something that doesn't feel right, so don't be afraid to advocate for yourself and to look at potentially, if you're an upperclassman, to look towards other freshmen and see if maybe they're struggling, and to check in and just see how they're doing.